needs. So if there is anything that you are thinking about this morning that would be helpful or something that you've been looking for, we could either help you find it on our website or we could even create it for you if that's something that would be useful for all of the districts. So just ask, we're happy to help you. Thank you for joining us, and I'm going to hand it over to Lori.
Good morning. I'm Lori Pusateri Lane, and I am your ELA and Fine and Performing Arts and World Language Consultant. I'm just finishing up my 6th year with the department. And as I'm sure you know, we have public input happening for ELA, and we will share some more with you about that after a bit. And I will pass it over to Sarah.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Schnell. I'm the Math and Computer Science Educational Consultant. I have been with the district going into my 2nd year now. I was in the classroom for Gen Ed for K2 for 9 years and then was a K6 computer science specialist for those other remaining 5.5 years. So welcome. And Bobby, I'm going to send it off to you.
Sounds great, Sarah. So my name is Bobby Eichhorst. I am the individual on the team that works with science and CTE standards. So I get to play with all kinds of cool things. I have been at the department for almost 4 years, going on 4, and I retired from New Mexico where I was, involved in science and career technical education for quite a while. So before we just open it up for questions, we thought it made sense to, kind of acclimate some people to some resources, go through just a couple of key things. So I'm going to ask Sarah if she wouldn't mind. We're going to start off with one resource that kind of ties together many of the resources on the web and some of the more detailed information that Lori will go through. And so what you're looking at, since we're representing the standards group, is the standards review process snapshot. Now, when Sarah takes us on a field trip in a little bit to some of the areas in our web, we'll find that there are more resources with this. There's a timeline, there's additional resources. But what I loved about this and why I wanted to share it first is this is a great way for all of us to remember the multiple touch points that our teachers have and can get involved with the standards. And so, when Lori lets us know where all the standards are of our 10 content areas, this is something great to keep in mind. The initial input and call for committee, we've got right away opportunity for people to get involved and give their input right away. Then we go to committee work, finally moving into informal review of draft standards, and then Chapter 10 rules promulgation. And so this is just something to help keep us grounded, but Lori's going to tell us where some of our standards actually are.
Thanks so much, Bobby. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with you as well, because obviously you've got links there that are, you can't click them right from your screen. So we wanted to give this update about the status of the different standards that we are working on at this time. And so in Chapter 10 rules right now, which means that the governor has signed them into state statute, implementing this year math and science, and those will be assessed this coming spring. And we have blueprints for those out on the educator resource site that Sarah will walk you through in a little bit. And then we also have these have been signed into statute and are to be implemented next school year: PE, health and safety, computer science, and fine and performing arts. And all of these are available in their current form and the coming to be implemented form on both of our websites. We also have the following year to be implemented world language and cultures and the math and science extended standards. And what we have as works in progress that some of you have actually been a part of these reviews. ELA, which is a biggie, is in the informal review of a draft that the committee had completed. And right now, we've been asking for that public input on that. And then after we finished the draft of the ELA, we had another committee that worked on the extended standards for ELA. And then just last night, we finished with the committee work for CTE, and drafts of both of those sets of standards, just the drafts, will be presented to the state board in a couple of weeks when they have their September meeting. And then the last piece that's coming soon is our social studies review. And that's going to be starting in 2026. And you can look for the call for participants in the WDE updates sometime after January 1st. And we're not 100% certain that it will be in January, but it will be definitely after January 1st. And also on that site, or on the sheet that I shared, you'll see we've got all 10 content standards in an Excel form, which makes it really easy to copy and paste from and manipulate. And then the extended standards also in Excel form. And then also we included a link there where, just in case you're not getting information enough, there's a link where you can sign up for updates from WDE. And so I think we said that after that little bit, we would see if we have any initial questions just about.
So Lori Lane, sorry to interrupt. Lori, remember we added yesterday, Lori Hernandez is going to go through that decision table before the questions.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. If we could just zoom in a little bit to where we just see the table, I'll orient everybody to what we have there. Go ahead. And we don't need the text so much. So with this, what you have your 10 content areas across the top, and then you have your grade bands down the side. So our standards are constructed in 4 grade bands for early elementary, K through 2, upper elementary 3 through 5, and then middle school and high school. And the State Board of Education decided that in this decision table, they wanted to clearly mark which areas and grade bands we're going to have content standards, which you see with the white text boxes, white open boxes. Those content standards are to be taught and learned for all students. So all is all. So every single content area in those areas, every single content standard is to be taught to all students. One thing to note, we have that green highlight over social studies, as that one hasn't started its review process yet, but the board has also made some decisions there. And so this table is what is going to be finally realized at the end of that 10th content area. Where you see the gray boxes, like in ELA and math, all the way down, it says content and performance standards. The designation there is that the content standards are taught to all students, so all is all, and the performance standards are assessed in the assessment system at the district level. So again, as you look at ELA and math, K through 12, every single standard in those content areas is to be taught and assessed for every student. As you look at science going down, you see that the board decided K through 2, they'll just have the content standards, so every student will learn those. And then 3 through 12, they will learn them and be assessed on them. Go back up, please. And as we continue to the right of that table, you'll see that some of those gray boxes like CTE, Fine and Performing Arts, Computer Science, and World Languages and Cultures, also in that gray box is a bold word saying elective. So in those areas where it is designated elective, school districts are expected to offer courses that align to those standards so that every student has an opportunity to take those courses and to learn those standards. But only if they elect to take it is the student responsible for learning it and being assessed on it in the district assessment system. So just again, to restate that, every school must offer programs that align to those standards so that every student has the chance to learn those standards. But only the students that actually take those courses will be expected to learn them and be assessed on them. So I do want to open up the conversation for questions on this table in particular, as we want to make sure it's very, very clear what the all is all means, and that every student learns those standards, not just has the opportunity, but learns those standards unless it's designated elective. You can put your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand or unmute to ask it. Okay, Barb, it looks like we are good to proceed. Thank you.
I'm almost wondering, if, Lori, if I should ask a question just so that it might help somebody. Would that be okay? So in
Yes.
other words, I can teach science in K2. I have to teach every single standard in my second grade science classroom, but I can assess it formatively. I don't have to assess it in the district assessment system. Is that correct?
So with that question, I have two answers. In that grade band, I should have clarified that districts do have the local control of how to spread that out over the K2 band. So
Science,
you might.
so that's science though. Science is independent.
Oh, correct. That is right. Sorry. So with science, you do have a kindergarten standard, a first grade standard, and a second grade standard. So yes, to Barb's question, yes, you would teach all of those second grade standards in your second grade class, and you wouldn't be expected to have the district assessment system summative type assessments, but you would still want to ensure your students are learning. So you would formatively assess them and make sure that you are evaluating their progress on learning those standards. But as we move over in the table and we get to areas like PE and CTE that have grade band standards, districts would still have local control on how to disseminate those standards across that band. And there's a few different approaches I've seen districts do. Some designate, split them out. This is for kindergarten, this is for first grade, this is for second grade. Some say that approach and then also say, but these three are important to be year to year, progressing across time. And others might say, well, they're all going to be important and we're going to make sure we hit on them at different levels and increase the rigor as we move through the grade levels. Any other questions the team can think of that might help?
Well, I have a second one, but I'm going to wait to see if any of our people who came on have a question before. And the reason I'm asking these questions is because I get them all the time in emails. And so I know that these are wonderings that a lot of the curriculum directors or the principals or sometimes even the teachers have.
We have one in the chat.
Yes. So the question in the chat mentioned these standards are assessed by the district assessment and not a state assessment. I may have missed that as I was getting on at that time. So with this, we're saying that the district is expected in the areas where you see the gray boxes, the district is expected to have the district assessment system set up to assess students on those standards. But we do still have the state assessment that is going to be aligned to those standards in the content areas of ELA, math, and science. ELA and math for grades 3 through 10 and science for grades 4, 8, and 10. And that's really important to restate that our state assessment system is set up and aligned to assess students on their understanding of our state standards. So it is important that you're looking at those standards, that you're lining your curriculum and instruction to those standards, and then you're building your assessment, your district assessment system to help give you information on how well your students are learning those standards.
We do have a corner that where several of them are indicate elective. Maybe that would be a good one to go through as well.
Oh, to re-clarify elective? Yes. So on the right-hand corner, you'll see some of those gray boxes have the bold word elective. In those areas, the board expectation is that districts and schools have programs that offer study in alignment to those standards for all students to have the possibility to take those courses. And only the students that elect to take those courses would be responsible to learn those standards and to be assessed on them through the district assessment system. Now, as you look above those areas that say elective, so for example, fine and performing arts and computer science in the grade bands K2 and 3-5, those white boxes, the expectation there is that every student enrolled in your school is learning those standards. So only the boxes that have elective can be a subset group of students learning those standards. Everything else that's not marked elective, it is intended that every single student enrolled in your schools is learning those standards.
So then I'll ask my question in regards to health and safety. So since these are the state priority standards, every single student in K through 8 must learn those grade band standards in whatever way the district wants. But I have to show in my district assessment system that all students at the high school level have been assessed on those PE standards. And before you answer that question, I just want to remind everybody that because the PE, health, safety, and fine and performing arts, as well as the math and science, have gone through an audit with a reduction of standards, the state board felt it was extremely important that the all-in-all was in place so that there was consistency in every single school district. But I do have to show that high school, all students were assessed on all the PE, on all the health and safety and all the PE standards. Is that correct, Lori?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, no more questions from.
Thank you. That helps, I'm sure, to really highlight some of the key things, and like you said, that we've been hearing. So anybody else on the standards team think of another question that's come their way that we should address, or anybody in the audience? All right, thank you. And we will be happy to answer any of your questions if they come later as well. And we can always circle back to this.
And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. So if someone does have a question that is about anything that we can help answer, you no longer have a screen sharing on one particular topic. We'll go ahead and open up for questions.
I guess we should just see if we can hear everybody. I know we could hear Deidre, but can somebody else unmute so we make sure you all are able to hear us? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a quick question. I think I've asked this and I understand it's still a work in progress, but I figure I should ask if you have any updates. In the frequently asked questions section of the standards document that was sent out previously, it had mentioned the requirement to begin tracking progress towards graduation standards through the district's SIS. And we were just wondering if there's any additional information about that, what if there will be reporting integrated to like the 949 or the 950 that we should be aware of, or if that's still just a work in progress and we should wait to hear more.
We'll have to, that's not actually in our department, in our division. So we're going to have to circle back and find some more information on that from the team that put that out. Can you remind me the first part that you said, so we can try to see if I can get that answer while we're in this hour?
Sure, absolutely. There was a frequently asked questions for the content and performance standards document that went out. I wish I had it in front of me because I'd tell you the page number. But
Oh, we can open it and project it.
okay. It's towards the end. There's just a section that mentions the requirement for districts to begin, it says, begin tracking progress towards graduation standards in the SIS system.
I thought we had the link to that FAQ in here. Let me see.
I'm putting it in Sarah's chat right now.
Okay.
It'll just take me a minute because it was in my, we have a different piece, so I have to pull up the draft one. Just a second. Of course, it'll take me a minute, but keep going.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm going to actually open up my working version of it because since it was a collaboration across groups, I might have some notes to help me answer that better.
I did just add the link in the chat if it's helpful to anyone.
Thanks, Christy.
Okay, Christy, did you find what page that was on?
And I'm putting it in Sarah's right now.
Page 5.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, you have it.
I can't read that. I have to, can you zoom it in, please?
Laura, I'll put it in your chat as well.
No, I'm just trying to compare where this information is to who we
okay.
can get the answer from. So so there you've got the contact people for that section. So it might be best to email the folks that are in that section to get that answer, to be very sure you're getting exactly the correct answer.
And if I can add something to that, Lori, your answer might be found in going to the state board. We can put the link in for you. There's public comment open right now for graduation standards on Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. And Diana Clapp would be more than happy to answer that question for you as well, since this is under the purview of the state board.
That
Thanks,
sounds
Lori,
great.
for
Thank you.
putting that link in there too. Yeah, the Chapter 3 rules are about the graduation standards, which will really give you some information on how it's tied into the profile of a graduate. And as Lori said, this isn't under our purview, but we're all geeks when it comes to the beauty of the profile of a graduate and what's important for our students. And so I just think that might be helpful.
Absolutely.
And I
would be great. We weren't sure with the terminology of the reduced standards, if that was referring to the graduation standards included in Chapter 331 or the content standards.
Yeah, and scroll down to the graduation rules. That's where we're really talking about here. So as Barb said, those graduation standards are being revised right now. And actually, we've got it listed there as Chapter 31, but it's actually moving to State Board of Education Rules, Chapter 3. And as they're designating that, it will be focused on the state standards, which when the time this was written was the reduced standards that we were really highlighting. So from here on out, we're just going to refer to them as the state standards, but knowing that they went through that reduction effort. And I will see if I can find out any more information about how that's being collected. But my understanding at the time that we wrote this was that your SIS would just, as you have things tied in your SIS to what's being taught and learned and how students are progressing, that we would be able to just pull that information, because we do, through our state assessment, already have a nightly upload from your SIS. So I think that the intention was that it would just be easy to pull it there, but I have not heard of any additional WDE data collection that's expected for this. But Christy, I will find out for sure for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm also giving you the media release that was in the chat, the media release that came out. It was supposed to close on September 3rd for public comment, but I'm sure that if you have questions, Diana Clapp could help you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see her name there on the piece.
Okay. So if there are questions that you're pondering or thinking that maybe you might have a question, I'm going to go ahead and take us through a little bit of a field trip through our public facing website into how to get into our resource website with our standards. If you have questions on anything, please stop and interrupt me while we're going through this little field trip as we move through. All right, so at this point, I am going to share with you our public facing website. And in our transparency piece, you can go into content and performance standards, and you will be able to see all of the content and performance standards along with the content areas. And we have some of the historical documents as well. So we have the 2020 computer science standards and then the 2023 computer science standards that will be implemented next school year in 2026, 2027. It's crazy to think that that is the time frame that we are looking at for implementation. And then you will see all of the different iterations of standards along with the math standards and of the two different pieces, PE and science, and ELA back up at the top. If we go into our main home screen and we scroll down to the very bottom, you will see an orange button in case you forget the resource website. You will have a visit the resource website link, and it will take you into our login portal. Your username is going to be the YED username that the state has provided you, or it could potentially be your email address with the district. And if you remember your password, go ahead and enter that. If you do not, you can click on the one-time password, and that will enter us into our resource page where you will be able to access more of the documents.
Sarah?
Yes.
Field trip's going great. Everything looks wonderful, but your voice has been robotic, kind of like a robot. Maybe see if maybe it's your camera.
Yeah.
It could be. I'll take off my video.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I enjoy the field trip. I just didn't want it from a robot.
All right, let me know if that's better.
It is.
Okay. All right, so in the resource page, you're going to see that we have standards and assessment. If you click on the assessment or just hover over assessment, this is where you're going to find those blueprints for math and science with the updated focus set of standards. If we continue to scroll down to standards, we're going to go into the content and performance standards. And here we're going to be able to see the standard documents in special format. So we can see them either in grade level standards, which include all of the Wyoming content and performance standards with those PLDs. And I'm going to click on grade 5 to show you an example. And if we want to look at, I'm going to click on ELA grade 4. We're looking at the 2012 because remember, we are still in review of the current ELA standards. And then we're going to see how those PLDs are laid out with the advanced student, the proficient student, the basic student, and the below basic student. Next, we can see our standards in an Excel spreadsheet. And again, these have been updated. And through this Excel spreadsheet, you can see all the different historical standards that we have. So you can see the 2013 Fine and Performing Arts Standards, and then the 2023 Fine and Performing Arts Standards as well. Same with science on the 2016 science standards. And it has the grade band, domain name, and then the science content standards and the performance expectations. You can also go through and find the standards documents and resources by content area. So again, we can look at English language arts, and then you'll have all of our content contact information for each one of our content areas. So we have English language arts with Lori, math with myself, and science with Bobby. And you can see each one and be able to click on the PLDs that attach to each one of those content and performance standards. We also have standards updates. And on our standards page at the very bottom, in the standard page, all of our updates have been recently added. So our office hours is the most recent memo that we've sent out. And then any other memos that we have, you can find directly here for the standards division. You can also click on the extended standards. And you have the 2024 Wyoming Math Extended Standards. And how those are based on levels 1 through 4. Are there any questions up to this point on our resource website or anything that you specifically would like me to address or hover over or look at?
So Sarah,
Yes.
have you ever worked with anyone that maybe didn't have a username and password for the resource site? How do they, you know, how do they access who should be accessing the district resource site?
From what I have been informed, that every employee of a Wyoming school district, and Lori, please correct me if I am wrong on this, but every employee of a Wyoming school district should have access to our resource website. And you should have a YED username. If you do not have access, please let one of us know, so that we can get in touch with the people who should know or can add you in. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my page again. So if you have questions, you feel free to jump in.
I think I had noticed that I'm in the district website when I get that little black band that says howdy and has my name. And I do appreciate being able to go there and find more information. Sometimes if I can't find what I'm looking for on the state site, it's nice to remember that, oh yeah, we've got the other website as well.
We're all educators here, so we all can practice our wait time.
I'm kind of curious to know if districts have been using the district site with the teachers and how familiar teachers are with it.
We use it here in Carbon too, Saratoga, Encampment, Hannah. Maybe not this site specifically, but as we review our standards, every year, the teacher teams are working through these documents. We appreciate the updates, and the continued, kind of restructuring of the standards. It can be frustrating at times. Some of the teams are like, why are we changing the standards? And like, we just, know that we're trying to fine tune what we want students to know and be able to do. So we appreciate the updates as we're constantly reviewing our standards, at least every year, of course, through that cyclical process of learning and assessing. So yeah, we do use it.
Thanks, Ryan. There's a lot of times we have some brainstorming ideas of what we want to do, but districts have local control and we don't have a curriculum and instruction section. But there's been many times that I've reached out to districts that say, please use our consultants if you have any trouble understanding the standards. We'll have groups of 40 educators, business people, retired teachers working on those standards. And a lot of times they'll create a standard and 3 weeks later, they'll go, well, what do we mean by that standard? And that's where the consultants are very helpful because we keep, detailed notes of what the discussion points were. And again, that's why I put that ELA informal public input survey into the chat, asking you to share that, especially with your ELA educators before it closes on September 23rd, because your input's so important to us, and the connections are important as well, which is why we keep asking you questions today, because we want to hear from you. We want to know what districts are struggling with when it comes to the basket of goods, and how to connect the basket of knowledge with the basket of skills, and where integration can come place. We have a lot of conversations about how integrated curriculum with all those standards. And a while back with Ag in the Classroom, the whole team got together and helped integrate those standards, so a teacher can take something and do 3 or 4 content areas and do those assessments all together. So we're here for that, especially for those of you who come on. We're ready and willing to do anything that you want. So if you have any thoughts that can help us improve getting out the information to the classrooms, so that our students have the best opportunity, we're here to listen. Well, we don't want to keep you, but we're here for the next 13 minutes. There might be some of you that have a question that just, they don't feel like sharing it with everybody. So you're more than welcome to stay on. You're all more than welcome to stay on. But if you feel you've got other important things to do, feel free to leave. And just remember that we're here for you. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Hey, and Barb, you mentioned, so these will be occurring monthly now moving forward. Is that right?
I didn't mention that, but if that's something that you think would be helpful, like the assessment team does, we'd be more than happy to accommodate that, Ryan. I know you've reached out to me a couple of times before, so it was nice to see your face.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm not afraid to call you, so thank you for answering when I do call.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great year. Deb, are we going to see you next week?
Either me or Erica Parker. She's our
Oh,
curriculum.
yeah.
Yeah.
Erica was on the CTE team, so
Yeah.
cool. All right, awesome. Well,
Okay.
good. Nice to see you
Thanks.
again. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
I think we can stop recording.
Thanks, Bobby. Did you hit the button for me?
I wasn't sure if I could.